Welcome everyone to the latest episode of This is a Revolution, your weekly RevPro podcast. Myself, George, here joined as always by Mr. Dave the Mark. Dave, how are we doing, my friend?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. We're back to being weekly now. I'm not going on holiday again this year, so I'm all yours for a couple of hours every week to chat RevPro.
Beautiful, Dave. Beautiful. I have no more holidays booked this year, so we're going to give the people what they want, mate. We're going to give the people what they want. And before we get into that, talk about giving the people what we want. We know it's the big week, the biggest week, RevPro Christmas, if you will. The most wonderful time of the year. And to celebrate that, next week we are giving you 2 episodes. Andy Quilden can milk the money out of us all by having 2 nights. We can milk the views out of you all by having 2 shows. We will be doing a night 1 recap and a night 2 recap. We're going to record them back to back, then release one back to back nights next week. Because, quite frankly, Dave, there is so much already. Finally, I'm just going to add, that's not meant as a dig, but finally, there is so much to talk about in terms of we know what we're getting, or we know most of what we're getting. As of recording, it's 6 p.m. on Wednesday evening. We have no idea what the remaining matches will be. We're aware that at some point tonight there might be information about meet and greets going out. So there's kind of all that stuff. So if I seem preoccupied, Dave, it's because I'm basically, this is like when Sky Sports are on the transfer deadline day, right? And they're checking everything that's going on. This is me. I'm the roving reporter over on Twitter, checking when this is happening. Dave, I just want to say as well, making their podcast debut via the window. Look at that. Sorry, mate, I had you muted.
You'll be able to see it when you put me in my window when you do your post edit. But Phoebe the Mark is having a little peek, and so is.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah.
On a true is my mate's daughter, who's about 3 years old, who's just poking her head through because I've told her to bugger off out the back room.
That one I did not see, but I saw Phoebe the Mark.
On our last podcast that we recorded, Phoebe was there the entire time.
Was she?
She said, "Can I sit and watch you do the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, but it's going to be pretty boring for you because it's like hour and a half. Obviously, I was like, you don't want to be on camera, do you?" And she was like, "No, I just want to listen." And she was literally just sort of like sat over there on a chair watching and listening. And I was just like, mate, you were saying about like constantly refreshing everything. That's been my life the last couple of days of just like obviously lots of direct messages and comments on Instagram for RevPro that need replying to and stuff like that, and then lots of like conversations with Andy and with Craig to get information to put out, and just being like, ooh, what's next? Oh, there's a podcast coming out. Oh, there's a video. Oh, Dave Bradshaw and RKJ. Oh, I haven't watched Pet Talks yet with Andy Corden. I'll watch that now. I'm like so hyped for this week. Like I'm literally like shaking and buzzing with excitement. And as by my count, as we are now, we still have 6 matches to be announced over the 2 nights.
Yes.
2 more for Global Wars, 4 more for RevPro 13.
That sounds right.
Who the people are that we can meet on the meet and greets, although I imagine people can probably work that out by looking at who's been booked. But you know, like how much is it going to be for each person? Are they both available? Are there people available both days and all those details? Like there's still lots to come out. I'd just say that if you think that you know everything that goes into booking 2 shows with 3 different partner promotions, 4 different partner promotions with the Emerson Jane match and the Destiny Championship on the line, I genuinely don't think people know more than 5% of what has actually been involved in the process. Like, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And to think that it's basically all run by one man with a family and, you know, the need for some sleep at some stage is incredible. I'm very, very
Yeah.
excited. I hope you are too.
Yeah, I am, and look, I'm not going to use the platform tonight to talk about all of that sort of stuff because, hey, look, I'm sure me and lots of other people we've all had our conversations about what we feel in terms of the build to where we are now and ways that we can all in our chairs here sit and go, this could have been done better, this could have been done better. I like how this is done. Like, we've all got our views on it. I mean, look, I know that me and you, we have gone through the message. If people could see our WhatsApp chat alone about just various different thoughts we've had. But the one thing I will say is, regardless of some of my thoughts and my opinions as to things, I do understand that, like you said, it's ran by one guy who's doing everything and has got all of those things to do. And I've always, and the bit I will say, I can't speak for us, but I've always trusted the process.
Yeah.
For me, it's always just about being able to get excited for it. And I'm not the sort of person, I like to have that little bit of lead up time to get excited. That's it for me. So that's for me why I would be critical about things. But at the same time, Jesus fucking Christ, what we've got is, yeah, it's a little bit good, isn't it? A little bit good.
Like, this is it, right? You look at so the first anniversary show I went to was 10th anniversary, which was like, it haunts Andy Quilden because he was massively like really seriously ill prior to the anniversary, and what we got 2 nights of 6 matches at your call had some fantastic stuff on it, like absolutely insane. Like,
is that the one where Will had the match with Mike Bailley one night and Ricky Knight Jr. the other night?
Yeah, you had Ospreay and Mike Bailley on one night, and then he defended the title against Ricky Knight Jr. in a 5-star match the next night. You had Leon Slater versus Speedball Mike Bailley, which was literally the world got introduced to Leon Slater. And you had the collapse of Destination Everywhere. That's when Mills turned on Oku. You had Sunshine Machine and the Velocities having this incredible match. It was an awesome weekend. I loved it. I didn't know any better. So, and if you look at the RevPro 9th anniversary show, it was a massive step up. But then the step up from the 10th anniversary to the 11th anniversary, where it was Copper Box, Shingo and Ospreay, the Jericho moment, you're like, mate, wow, this is a big step.
Did you hear Andy say what also should have happened that night? What was being planned?
No, I don't think so.
They were planning on having Mercedes there, but then she got injured.
Oh, really?
She was in talks for 11th anniversary, got injured, so couldn't continue. That was the original. So that's how far back the Mercedes involvement goes.
Yeah. And then last year was a step up. Some people might not perceive it as a step up but I don't think the card last year was tremendously better than the previous year. I think they were quite equal. But last year it was, now we're going to do it with British wrestlers headlining through the British Championship, as opposed to the year before where it was, we need Shingo and Ospreay, a guaranteed 5-star match. They've never not had a 5-star match.
I would agree on that.
But this year is like another step up, because we were joking earlier, weren't we? How long have I sat on this podcast trying to downplay the idea that Mercedes Mone will be at this anniversary show?
Yeah.
And now we're facing the fact that she is defending her championship, and she is in a storyline-driven 6-woman tag match, which is something that some people, and probably the people that watch this podcast, know this, but anyone who stumbles across it in the hype of the weekend, like, don't get confused that this match has been built show to show. whether it's in Southampton in England or whether it's in London, whether it's in Sheffield, like all up and down the country, whether Mercedes has been there or not, this match has been built up. And when Mercedes has been there, there's always been this thread of issues with the Cutthroat Collective. So that's insane. We're getting Hiroshi Tanahashi, which we've been spoiled with Tanahashi in the past. But to get him on his last ever tour is special. And for some people, a meet and greet with Tanahashi literally going to be the last time you ever get to meet him. Like in the UK, probably, isn't it?
Yeah. So
and they just
Tanahashi
throw Shibata into that match as well.
Yeah, Tanahashi. He's a guy that I will have seen by the end of this weekend live 4 times, and 3 times I've been in RevPro.
Yeah,
that in itself is mental. Reading, Doncaster, and now Crystal Palace. So yeah, like that match in itself. So look, should we just go through and like just start with some of these matches? And you've just mentioned that match, right?
Let's start with that.
When that graphic dropped, right? So look, no one. I was just said someone saying, "Hey, look, there's going to be something exciting." That's all I'm going to say. And the words to me were, "You'll shit your pants." Like the hype was out there, and as soon as I saw this graphic drop, I was like, "Holy fuck!" Do you know what I love about this one as well? Right? People could look at this and go, wow, this is a banger match of people they've got together, right? And who are available. Every single man here has history steeped in RevPro. You've got 1, 2, 3 former British Undisputed Champions in one team. You've got Mike Bailley. You've got Zazaya. Then the other one, you've got Cowboy Way. You've got Hechicero, who's had amazing matches in RevPro. You've got Robbie X, who is, at my mind, on the same level as Michael Oku, like in terms of what he can do, what he can bring. And Carl Fletcher, who, former tag team champion. Again, one of those names that people might not realise is synonymous with RevPro, even, 3-4 years ago now? Like, he was a fixture. Like, when I was coming to RevPro shows, I saw him versus Ethan Allen in Southampton. I saw him, Will, and Mark Davis after taking out Michael Oku after Oku Ospreay won. It's quite insane, the level and caliber of this talent here.
Mate, I get to do my bit. Ready? Carl Fletcher, seen him instantly, yes. Carl Fletcher versus Ninja Mac instantly.
Oh,
in fact, I think I've seen Carl Fletcher instantly a few times. He literally was on every. He was on every RevPro show that I went to in 2022, I think. Mate, honestly, so of the 10 people, as you said, 3 heavyweight champions, 2 cruiserweight champions, 2 tag team champions, 3 J Cup winners, Cowboy Way, who were in the Tag League final this year, so could join that. Hechicero, who has performed for RevPro in 2023, 2024, and 2025. Yep. And Zazaya, who is he's the one person in it who doesn't have a credential next to his name, other than being the hottest wrestler in the world right now, and had his breakthrough in Revolution Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. I love this match so much because it's a celebration of pro wrestling at its best for us. And to people that are like, oh, I'm just going to go to this indie show because it looks stacked, it's an absolute guaranteed battle.
Yeah, I'm not normally a fan of big multi-man matches. We've discussed this before. These sort of matches normally do nothing for me. But it's such a high level, high caliber set of competitors, and what this means to RevPro and who these all mean to RevPro, and just being in there, this is a phrase that the kids TM use quite a lot, but aura, right? There is aura off the charts here. Now, you're talking about this like they were all once part of RevPro, president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW superstar, AEW superstar, CMLL superstar, Robbie X, every fucking where. Kyle Fletcher, the guy that people are legitimately saying is the heir to the world title that Ospreay hasn't even won yet. Like, that's the level TNT champion. That in itself is just insane. Like, yeah, it's insane. And for people to get a chance to see that, like, I think, if I've worked it out correctly, we paid £60 per ticket. That's 2 nights where we're sat in Crystal Palace. That feels like worth it from this match alone, for even just one night.
Mate, my ticket, my ticket says 50 quid. I think it was 60.
That was it.
I think we got change at 60 quid.
Yeah.
Even after you paid the fees and things, like, it's insane. And do you know the thing I love about it?
What's that?
I genuinely believe, because it's been my privilege to see. I don't think there's a wrestler in that match I've not seen live in a RevPro ring before. No, there's not. I've seen all of them in RevPro before. And I've met half of them through RevPro before. I don't believe there's a wrestler in that match who didn't get a call from Andy Cruden and would have reacted being like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. That sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, because people have very high praise for this company.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that can't be said about every other company in the world. But even if it can, even if we're like, well, yeah, everyone knows that you don't shit or you don't piss on your own doorstep, do you? You know, like you always leave graciously because you never know you might need to come back again.
Mm-hmm.
But I genuinely believe that the company has got this like fantastic locker room where people really enjoy their experiences there, and that's why they keep coming back. What gets me, right, and I know we're going to go through each match and whatever.
Yeah.
Have you contemplated what this card is actually going to be like? Because that match headlines. Like, I'm almost certain of that. I'm sure Andy said in the RevPro recap that night one was headlined by a 10-man tag.
Yes.
Now, that means potentially, if it were me, I might go with this as the headliner, Ishii versus Jay Joshua the match before that, Mercedes is 6-woman tag the match before that.
That's not.
Oh fuck! That's not, is it?
That's night
that's
2.
The next night.
Mercedes Emerson.
Mate, Jesus Christ, yes. So Mercedes Moné's having a singles match defending the undisputed British Women's Championship, and it might not even be the headlining match.
And we were convinced.
Where do we even fit in? Like Connor Mills versus Yuya Uemura.
So here's the other thing, right?
Versus Blue Panther.
I'm looking at those matches, thinking, right, these 2 matches. And bear in mind, we still think we've got 2 matches to come for this card. And are they the kind of matches you'd normally have as an opener? Probably not, but maybe we do. Also, Dave, the thing that you're forgetting, because I'm presuming that this is being done live in the ring, Jushin Thunder Liger Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah. I mean, I think that could be a stroke of genius, because my thinking is do 5 matches, do the induction of Jushin Thunder Liger instead of an interval. Mm-hmm. Do 5 more matches. If you need to go for a wee, you want to go and get a beer, you could do that during Liger's induction, because the way Crystal Palace is set up, you're not going to. It's not like you have to completely leave the vicinity to be able to do that. And also, it gives everybody the mental break before the second half without having. Because I do understand with the bigger shows, when you have an interval, there is an element of we need everybody to get back in their seats.
Yeah.
We saw it at Summer Sizzler. That's the first RevPro show I've ever been to where they actually announced on the mic, like, RevPro's coming back in 2 minutes, get back to your seats. They do that all the time. But there was an extra, like, we're literally coming back now, guys, back to your seats. And there's still loads of people at the merch. So it feels like this could work really, really well there.
I think
mate,
so.
I'm like a kid in a candy store here. Like, what match do you want to talk about next?
All right, you know what? I'm having to think. Right, I'm gonna have a talk about the match that I think when I saw it, I was expecting the match, and I was like, is it right? Like I was being really pedantic about what night it's gonna be. But I actually think it's going to still be a really great match. This is how pedantic I was being. And that is Young Guns versus GYV, right? I'm going to be honest here. I wasn't that jazzed with their previous match, right? You know the old phrase, they're holding something back for the next match? This felt like that in a very noticeable way. And that's no disrespect to these guys because, again, it was a good match. It was a good match. It just wasn't top of what I've seen from either team before. My favourite match of GYV's that I think I've ever seen, not live, but ever seen, was actually against Sunshine Machine in Progress. That was a fantastic match. And look, Young Guns have been hit machines all year, right? Like, to quote Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, banger after banger after banger. My favourite match that I've seen of GYV as of now is against the Cowboy Way. I thought that was an insane match. Levels for me. This one now has much more clearly defined story going into it. And when I say story, to quote a certain Mark, a rivalry, not a feud. It has that going into it. It has heat going into it. Sunday in Southampton was, in a lot of ways, one of the easiest shows to call, right? Not necessarily in decisions, but in what was going to happen. I was sitting there saying to Will next to me, I was going, right, ready for Young Guns? When, after GYV hadn't been left there for long, but as soon as Cowboy went, all right, ready for Young Guns? And he was like, what? And then they came out, and he was like, you're right. I was like, because it's obvious, and I don't want to use the term in a negative, but predictable storytelling. And like we said, sometimes predictable isn't always bad. Predictable is needed because if everything's a swerve, nothing makes sense, and logic should prevail. You've got predictable, boring, predictable that gets you to a nice destination. And that's where I think we are here. Because, and I've seen the criticisms of it, right? And I was thinking this on the wet drive there. I was like, it's got to be Young Guns challenging GYV. Because GYV, if they lose, can't challenge Young Guns for a title after that. It has to be the other way around. And the show of disrespect by GYV at the end just added that little bit extra to it. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this has the potential to, again, come out of it being one of the best tag matches in RevPro all year. And then we have the potential that the following night that could get usurped. Like, that is, if you're a fan of tag team wrestling, this is a great weekend to be in RevPro.
Yep, I genuinely agree with every single point you made there. From their Summer Sizzler match feeling like things were being held back and that it didn't go into top gear because there was going to be another match. The fact that it was very predictable that Young Guns were going to come out and challenge them, that it had to be Young Guns that issued the challenge. Of course it would be them though, because they're fighting champions, and Ethan Allen has got a massive chip on his shoulder where he keeps telling Luke Jacobs that they need to be better than what they're doing. We're better than this. We need to be better than this. It's a running thread in all the backstage promos. I'm really excited for this. I would be really happy to see this go on quite early on the card. Mm-hmm. I think it would be a really good one to just maybe go on second or third and grab the grab the crowd by the balls and give them a shake. And it doesn't have, for me, when I said that they never felt like it got into fourth or fifth year at Summer Sizzler, it's not that it needs to go longer. It just needs to be ramped up quicker. But now we've got heat to it. So I think this could easily be everything I want it to be in 12 minutes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It doesn't need to be 15, 18 minutes for it to get, a standing ovation and this is awesome shots. It can run 12 minutes, but it be, presumably GYV come out first because Young Guns are champions. Champions normally come out second. But, Young Guns normally walk to the ring. They walk to the ring purposefully. They don't stand and pose. Bloody nightmare to take photos of. They walk straight to the ring. They get in the ring. But this time they walk straight to the ring. They get in the ring. They throw their belts at Francesca and the ref, and they attack.
Yeah. I agree. Again, everything you said there. Like, one of the things that I think wore me out with wrestling was, and I was part of the problem at one point, was like, well, you can't tell a great epic story in less than 40 minutes, right? And that was and then that became the thing, right? New Japan really popularized that, which is something that put me off of New Japan for a long time. These epic, again, if I know how long a match is going to last for, if I know we're definitely going 45 minutes, I struggle to connect, right? Because I know I'm conditioned. So I think sometimes having these shorter 12-minute matches, these used to be the things I'd be like, oh, you can't tell a great match in less than 15 minutes. And I actually at one point used this as a criticism against Progress, right? I'd be like, oh, well, Progress has really short, and they do have shorter matches compared to RevPro. But I'd be like, they have really short matches. In actual fact, I just think it's the way the matches are booked that's different. Because the amount of RevPro matches I've gone back on, that was great. And we've looked and gone, that was 12 and a half minutes, 13 minutes. It's like, oh, yeah. So I'm with you. I think we've got the heat. I think you could actually start the show on this. Without knowing what the rest of the card looks like, this could be a really great show opener. You've got all of these matches to come over the weekend, and that's how you're literally setting the shop window for the rest of the weekend.
I don't know what the other two matches are. Pulling back the curtain, I normally know the matches for RevPro before everybody else by about 5 minutes, because I get sent the graphics to put up on Instagram, and then Andy puts it on Twitter, and then I put it up on Instagram. So it's literally like ooh, look at that, and then very quickly it appears. Well, I don't get told things long in advance, and I don't know. I never know results. I never know where things are going, and that's what makes me happy. I wouldn't want to know that. I'm just a RevPro fan. I just do a little bit volunteering. But I don't know what the other two matches are going to be. But if we just had the 8 matches we have now, if you're happy to segue to the next match, I would open with Leon Slater versus Francesco Akira. I think, first of all, opening with Leon Slater's music, Leon Slater coming out, is like, fuck, we're starting hot. I think Leon is one of the hottest wrestlers around at the moment. TNA champion, but more than just that, he's, and maybe it's just my social media, but he's everywhere. Everywhere I look, it's Leon Slater. And I feel like it's a little bit like we're bigging him up to be a big challenger. He's elevated from being a special attraction at RevPro to a regular feature in RevPro, to the Cruiserweight Championship, to the Heavyweight Championship. He is very much one of the top guys now. Mm-hmm. And a big responsibility of top guys in the past has been go out and set the show alight. Start us off. Robbie X has done it loads of times. Oku used to do it on certain shows. Luke Jacobs has done it plenty. So I'd really like that. It's also a match I don't think needs to go tremendously long. They could have a real like that. I think Akira and Leon could do in 9 minutes what lots of people try to do in 15 or 16, and
Yeah.
they could just have an absolute like. I'm kind of thinking of Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio in my head.
Yeah.
Not in terms of like that match, because that match is special and shouldn't be plagiarized, but in terms of it being just really athletic and quick from the
Yeah.
start. And it's also the sort of match that, I mean, I'm predicting Leon to win with the fact that he's got a big match
Sure.
with Oku on Saturday. But I'd be more than happy to not see the Swanton 450. I'd be more than happy to see him win on a roll up, but because him and Akira are having this really, you know, Spider-Man meme match where it is very much anything you can do, I can do better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a really great way to start if then you were to go into right now, we're going to go into a really hot match. I do think pacing of this show is the most important thing. It's the most important show of the year to get right.
Yeah.
And I'll be super forgiving of it. I will be, because it must be so bloody hard with so many matches, and you never know what two people are going to do in the ring. You can have an idea of it, but you never know how people are going to react.
No.
Sometimes you're like, why is the crowd a bit flat for this match? I always think back to, for me personally, Trent Seven and Shingo Takagi, which I believe was Uprising 2020.
No, it was High Stakes 2024.
High Stakes 24.
Yeah, he was supposed to be Gabe Kidd.
And I was, and you know, like anyone who listens to this regularly knows how much I love Trent Seven. Like so much respect for the guy, top dog. And Shingo's like my guy. Like Shingo was my entry level to New Japan. Like when I first started watching New Japan, it was like, okay, well I know who this Okada fella is. Let's watch a bit of this, and then you're like, fuck me, why is everyone talking about him when Shingo Takagi's here? Like, who is he? Him and Ibushi and Naito, I just fell in love with. So I should have been bang up for it. I was just a bit tired, just a bit drained, and I'm really hoping that we can avoid that this year.
Yeah.
What they did perfectly last year was that big cutthroat collective match, because that's right at the time when you could start to lag, and it didn't. And I do think that Dijak and Gabe Kidd struggled the match after. It delayed that bit of a lag. But if we can put something banging in the middle, I think that's going to be really, really vital. And that's where maybe something like the Conor Mills versus Yuya Uemura match could go.
Sorry, I was getting distracted because I was listening to you, but as I was just checking to see if there was any updates, I had a DM come through, and it just says Anthony Ogogo on it, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Anthony Ogogo is DMing me. Yeah, he's DMing me to push his DM back to the top of my DMs list because he knows how busy they can get. He's trying to sell his push his fitness onto me.
Yeah.
And with all due respect to Anthony Gogo, well, I'm sure the lad will smash it. If I do decide to do coaching, Ethan Allen coaching is the only place I'll be going. I'm with you though, like on everything you said about pacing of the show. That Trent match versus Shingo, that was one that it was supposed to be Gabe Kidd versus Shingo. Obviously, Gabe couldn't make the match. It was very late in the day that got changed, so forgiving of the circumstances. And that is one where placement plus time created lull. And I think that went on way longer than it should have done. I think that one went on something like, I want to say it went on something like 26 minutes. It was something, I remember it was something ridiculous like that. Which, you know what, when you're plotting out a wrestling show and you've got space to fill and all this sort of stuff going on, you're going to have that, right? But like you said as well, you can be forgiving of that if the rest of the card around it, you're always going to have, actually it was 22 minutes. But at the same time, like you're going to have matches that are just going to have that lull sometimes, whether it's planned for or not, whether it's expected or not. It's how the rest of the card goes. It is going to be really interesting because on that card, you also had the match that I think at the time I enjoyed but appreciated more afterwards. And for me, that was Zack Sabre Jr. and Connor Mills because, again, lengthy cards, those kind of matches. So I'd be interested to see that, given some of the matches we've got on this card and the wrestlers that we've got, how they can overcome that, because there's a lot of technically gifted wrestlers on this card. Those style matches you've got to imagine will come out. But on that, like, Blue fucking Panther versus Chris Ridgway. And I'm going to say the bit I'm most excited for about it when I saw this graphic, right? It was, first of all, holy shit, we're getting Blue Panther. But it was, holy shit, we're getting Chris Ridgway back. Like, that guy has been, like, one of the top wrestlers of the year for me in RevPro. Like, in terms of coming in and just, like, gravitating towards him. So I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit, right? When Chris Ridgway posted that he's going to do podcasts, I had no shame in selling myself to Chris Ridgway. Like, I might have offered him a 2-for-1 special at one point with how much I was making it obvious that I wanted him to be on the pod. And we got chatting and we were talking about what it could look like. I won't go into too much detail about that. But he said, can I ask one favour? I was like, sure, mate, what's that? He said, can we wait until I'm back in RevPro? And I thought, well, that's cool, because clearly, like, I thought it was a bit weird at first, because I was like, hang on a minute, you want to do interviews, and you're, like, obviously, but I thought maybe he's waiting because he actually wants to come back with us when he's a bit more ready, RevPro specific podcast. And I think he knew that he was going to be back sooner, and I think he knew he had something big like this. And we talk about wrestlers that deserve statement matches, right? We've spoken about with Jay Joshua. We spoke about with Connor Mills. This is a guy that deserves a statement match at the biggest show of the year. It's going to be insane, mate.
Yeah. There's so much there that I love, because I love the fact that Ridgway got hurt whilst on a run in RevPro, and he's been brought back at the earliest possibility and been given a dream match. There would have been a time when he would have not been in the plans for this weekend because of the injury, especially because I think the first signs of the injury were that it was going to be longer than it has been.
Yeah.
But they've made it work. And that's, we saw it on Sunday with Jane Nero getting hurt. And Andy said this week, as soon as she's fit again, she'll be back. Got big plans for her. Joshua James is hurt. As soon as he's back in the fold, the plans might be different, but there will be plans. It's not like, sorry, you're not hot anymore, so we've moved on to a new person, and that's that. Blue Panther is someone I never thought I'd get to see wrestle live, and you come to terms with that. So it's a real treat. And Blue Panther in a mask as well is pretty damn special. And he posted his mask on his Instagram this morning, and it's up on the RevPro Instagram page as well. It's beautiful. I love it. So yeah, I'm so excited for it, and this is me all over, isn't it? Technical wrestling masterclass.
Yeah, and you know what? You said something there as well. Just based on this day alone, there are 3 wrestlers that if they bring masks with them, I might end up buying those masks as well, because they all have masks that I legit want. Do you know what? The only thing that we could add to this match, mate, is that Bryan Danielson will be in town on Saturday and Sunday, and Blue Panther is Bryan Danielson's favorite wrestler. So I had a conversation in Southampton with Zazaya, and I was talking to him about his match and said, so excited for that match. And we'd talk about it, and I said to him, I was so tired that when they said the best technical wrestler in the world, I was like, but it's not going to be Bryan Danielson, surely. And he's like, that's my other dream match. And then we were talking, and he said, well, Blue Panther's there. And I was like, yeah, that'll be great. And he went, no. He said, Bryan Danielson's favourite wrestler. Maybe he will come. I was like, maybe he will. And look, it's no shock that Tony Khan came to the show last time. I wonder how many people we'll see sitting up in that box watching these matches. But yeah, this match has the potential to be special. I'm going to let you introduce the Connor Mills one, because everything that I basically, the reason I'm going to let you introduce it, Dave, is because I'm not sure on pronunciation. But it was a name that I saw get announced that I was like, I don't know this person by their skills, but by the reputation from the people that I know who watch and whose opinion I trust. Everyone went apeshit for this.
Yeah, so Yuya Uemura. So so a big New Japan fan, but I've been critical, like in conversations off air, regarding New Japan at the moment, just because I feel like the G1 was a real big missed opportunity to. I've got no problem whatsoever with Takeshita winning it. Takeshita is the biggest Japanese wrestler in the world right now, and the best in my opinion as well. But to have, and I'm not like I just hate the House of Torture and I'm just going to neg the House of Torture for the sake of it, because it's low hanging fruit and it's easy to do that. But to have House of Torture in the main event of the G1 feels like a missed opportunity where they could have put an advert for the company for all of the fans of the world who are open to exploring other wrestling companies in this forbidden door period. It was an opportunity to put someone's name on the map. And when I'm then looking at, because I did the Chris Samsa pick'ems when I worked out my way to who I wanted to be in the final. For me, your best bets from the young Japanese talents they've got, their best two are Yuya Uemura and Yota Tsuji. Now, we know Yota Tsuji really well. Yeah. He has done his excursions through RevPro, and I would love to see Tsuji this weekend. I absolutely would. But it's refreshing to see Uemura, because that's, wow, this is a first time ever. He's not done a Royal Quest, I don't believe. I didn't go to last year's, so I don't remember it as well. But I don't think he did last year's. You can
We're going to VAR fact check this one.
Yeah, he's not. He certainly didn't do 2022 or 23 that I did go to. Damn, my little boy being born on a RevPro weekend.
How inconvenient.
But, very inconvenient, mate. But Uemura is someone that we haven't seen in a RevPro ring, in a RevPro event. He's like some talent. Stylistically, he's very much made for Mills. He's not as technical as Mills is, but he is technical. And he's a Japanese wrestler. You know, so every Japanese wrestler can do the strong style stuff that Mills loves, but Uemura is one where that's probably more his game. He's a real, like, you're going to see lots of suplexes, you're going to see hard hitting, like punches and chops and strikes. You'll see Mills kicking, you'll see Uemura punching. He had a strong G1. He didn't make it to the finals, but he had a strong G1. He was pushed in it. I'm really excited for this one, and I think, obviously, I wanted Shingo. I made that really publicly clear. If for whatever, and Shingo's not going to be there this weekend, so that kind of tells you that it's not necessarily we just didn't fancy Shingo. It's like, well, Shingo is never an option, so yeah, he's not available this weekend. I'm assuming, because otherwise he would be there, because he bloody loves RevPro and Andy loves him. But if you said pick somebody from New Japan that you want to see wrestle Mills that isn't Shingo Takagi or Taichi, because Taichi never leaves Japan, yeah, Uemura is the one for me.
Yeah, so to go back on what you said, mate, never appeared in England. This will be actually his British debut. What stage, what a weekend, what a match to do it with. This feels very similar to me with on paper and how kind of I saw people with 2 years ago, JJ Gale and Fujita. But I think this one, based on where Mills is in his current progression, what I'm hearing about Uemura, I feel that this could go on to achieve what people may have hoped the other match. And even Andy, I think himself, said that was a good match that he thought would maybe be a bit better than it was, or may have had a bit more impact. But that's just where the guys were at the time. I'm really interested to see this. Like I said, everyone raves about him. The points you make there about New Japan are interesting, because when I was just getting into the more strong style stuff, around somewhere between 2014 and 2016, I was trying to get into it. A lot of the time I tried to get into it was around G1 time, and I had very similar feelings to what you're saying now, actually. For me, it was the long matches, as I mentioned earlier, and it was the feeling that nothing fresh was being tried. It was always Okada, Naito, or Omega. And look, I get, we've spoken about this before as well, like, it is realistic to have top dogs, but sometimes it felt like with these tournaments introducing, and yeah, if you asked me beforehand, I'm the most casual of New Japan followers as you get, I would have said this was Yota Tsuji's tournament, and that Tsuji would have been in the role that Takeshita was in. So yeah, interesting. Everything you've said there, everyone, like I said, is raving about him. I'm really excited for him, mate. It just, again, it feels fresh, and it's great to have names that we see a lot. But it's also great to see people and see what they can bring and how they can establish themselves in RevPro canon. Going on to people that we haven't seen a lot, but we have seen. Mercedes Mone defended against Emerson Jane. Like, we said this right at the top of the show, right? That we were going back and forth, and I think we were on one show, you went, she's definitely not coming. And I was like, well, how can you have an anniversary show with her as your champion and not come out and say she won't be there? Like, to me, there is an implied level of these are our champions, they will be there, right? And as we're getting closer, you and I were going through various different mental gymnastics of what it could be. I think then you change your mind saying, no, I reckon she'll be there but second night. And I was definitely not second night. She won't be there second night. My thought was Kanji, Windsor and Mercedes in a triple threat. They're all in a match together, but not in a triple threat. Like, we've covered all of these different options, and I think even this week I was like, maybe she's going to be there one night where she's just not going to be wrestling. Maybe she's going to just can't cut a promo or something. The fact that we're getting a title versus title night match, first thing, I fucking love seeing the meltdown people are going into, right? RevPro fan groups, right? Going, I feel really sorry for the people, for the fans of the Discovery Wrestling Championship. I'm like, Discovery Wrestling, who respectfully, of course, you probably never knew existed until this graphic went up, because I consider myself to be knowledgeable and know a lot of promotions, not one that I'd heard of. Now, that's not to say that they're not big because I've not heard of them, but just they don't have that cachet that another company would, right? That it makes sense, and when I say makes sense, I use that loosely, for Mercedes to be involved with RevPro, or even if it was a Progress, because they are the big fish. Discovery are probably a very, very, very small fish in what considerably is a massive pond, even in BritRest for them. And this brings eyes onto them, because we've spoken about the Mercedes effect, right? It is real. You've seen firsthand from the stuff that you do, like just the imprint of having Mercedes. We've spoken about having her on TV shows. She's on Dynamite with the RevPro title. There was a video that went out yesterday for, I think it was Lad Bible or something like that, where they do snack wars, and Mercedes comes and sits down, and you've got all these big HD cameras, and you've got the TBS title over one shoulder, and the camera is that good, you can read that says RevPro, right? You are a casual viewer who is watching this and going, huh, what's this RevPro, right? These are all the things that she brings you, right? You take out of it the all the other stuff as well, like merchandise and all that, buying tickets, and you've still got those fans up in Scotland who are going to get their moment with Mercedes coming into their promotion. You're going to get those wrestlers who look at the likes of Dinah Strong, right? Dinah Strong, Polish wrestler. When she comes over here, she is going to places like Weymouth Pavilion, right, for UPW, which is decent size, but it's not the top of the top in the UK. She's someone who's progressing and working through. She's making waves. More people know who she is because she's had the chance to wrestle her hero. She posted on Instagram like pictures of her dressed as Mercedes or Sasha Banks, right? People get wrapped in their own bubble and just forget what a big deal this is to have Mercedes. Like, we've got her for 2 nights, and she's going to take... I'm getting a bit presumptuous here. She's going to take another belt, right? Like, she is. We know this. Unless she doesn't, which would then shock the world in itself. But, and I wouldn't be against it either. Not because I don't want Mercedes around. I'm happy for Mercedes to be the representative for RevPro as long as possible. But Emerson is also wicked. So, like, if she was to win it, I'd be so happy for her. But seeing these people have meltdowns is fucking hilarious. And you see why, like, everyone is talking about, like, they want to have these matches, right? They love having Mercedes around. What she is doing for women's wrestling, what she's doing for RevPro. I realise I'm just fucking rambling now. When I saw this match come out, I was messaging back and forward with someone about something, and we were talking about Emerson's singles match. And then boom, that graphic comes out today. And we're like, there it is. That is the match to do. I just think this is going to rule, mate.
Well, first of all, I'll give myself a little pat on the back, because in the Dave the Mark 10 takeaways from Southampton, one takeaway was called Beware of the Shark. And I pointed out how Emerson Jane is currently a big, big fish in RevPro, waiting for her opportunity to bite. And here it is. And now I will share some insight, my friend.
Go for it.
Some of you who are eagle-eyed will realise I am not drinking a coffee, I'm drinking a beer. Panic not, it is a 0%, I am still on the wagon. But the reason I'm drinking a beer is because today has been quite stressful. My friend, Mr. Quilden, put out a post saying about the timings of the day and said about answering any questions, just hashtag #AskRevPro and we'll address them. I did the same on Instagram. And at that point, I thought, well, I should probably have to now read every comment on every one of the RevPro posts that we have done today and yesterday in case questions come on. And there have been some questions, like, how much will meet and greets be just to enter? Will you be able to go into the meet and greets and just meet one person? Could you go into the meet and greet and not meet anybody, but just experience the vibe? Things like this. It also meant I had to read every single comment underneath the graphic for Mercedes Mone and find a whole new world of fan that I try to mute and hide from. The melting of people. And mate, like, they haven't got a clue. There are people out there saying how Mercedes Mone is killing independent wrestling.
Oh, it's fucking
by going around the world and taking all their belts. Like, ask Kanji how many more followers she has on Twitter and Instagram now compared to before she wrestled Mercedes Mone. Ask Sapphire Reed how much more exposure she has gotten since she wrestled Mercedes Mone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know there was a wrestling company in Poland, let alone who their champion was. No disrespect to the Scottish wrestling scene, but it isn't, when we talk about the British scene, it's very much south of the border that gets talked about, in Wales.
Yeah.
Very much is like the main areas that are talked about. This is massive. Just like to put a couple of metrics on it. When I first got given control of the RevPro Instagram channel, it tells you every day how many people have viewed the page in the last 30 days. And that would range from 50,000 to 100,000 people. The day before yesterday, it was 1.4 million. Yesterday, after this graphic dropped, it was 1.7 million. Just put that into perspective. 1.7 million people in the last 30 days have been exploring RevPro content on Instagram, and 300,000 did that yesterday. Just yesterday. If of those 300,000 people, 0.1% of them buy a ticket for this weekend, the shows sell out. Like Saturday is almost sold out. I looked at the tickets earlier. I think you can count the number of tickets left. Like you can literally count the dots, and it's not many. Friday's got a little bit more to sell. That makes sense because a lot of people are coming into the UK for Saturday in preparation for Sunday, not coming in on Friday. Obviously, people have got to work as well, but I'm expecting that to be close to a sellout, if not a sellout as well. Like the RevPro is survives on weekends like this.
Yeah.
This is the WrestleMania week where companies up and down the country make enough money to be able to run at a loss on other shows.
Yep.
And Andy said it himself. He's fully prepared that the next show after this, which is the first ever RevPro show at Portchester Hall in London, now that we've moved from the 229, they will make a loss on that show because it costs so much to hire the venue that once they've hired the venue and they have paid for everybody, if the number of people that come to the 229 come to Portchester Hall, he won't break even. That's the level of wrestling that we're talking about. And that's not me pulling back any curtain. Andy has said these in public interviews this week. Like, go out and listen to them. They're fantastic. I've listened to Pep Talks and I've listened to the Grapple Pod in the last couple of days. Really recommend both of them. But it just goes to show that, and it's not Mercedes alone, of course it's not, but she is. I see the metrics. I see how much of a draw effectively just through one metric, just through Instagram. I see how much of a draw every wrestler that's advertised for RevPro is. Mercedes is off the chart. Before Mercedes, it was Mina Shirakawa. She was the big name. She was the one that popped the big numbers. You know, more so than Will Ospreay did. More so than like others would. And I'm sure a huge part of that is the fact that we've seen Ospreay a million times. We've not seen Mina Shirakawa, and I'm sure there is a huge part of it that we're talking about beautiful women who are coming into the promotion. And whether you like that comment or not, I do think it is relevant.
It is.
And what you've got there is you've got needle movers. So anyone that thinks that this is hurting independent wrestling, I genuinely believe it's one of two things. It's people that just love to spout shit because it gets them engagement online and that gives them some form of gratification. And people that just don't understand what independent wrestling is.
Yeah,
I'm sure lots of them are just big WWE fans and who have never forgiven Sasha Banks for leaving WWE. But WWE has not had a relationship with independent wrestling, or WWE fans won't know what independent wrestling is like going back like 30 years, like 40 years now.
Yeah.
And obviously there are WWE fans that know what they're talking about with independent wrestling. But these negative voices they're insane, mate. Like they're quite concerning, some of them, if I'm honest.
They really are, mate. I mean, just touching on the numbers that you said, right? If 0.1% sign up for RevPro on demand and stick with it every month, right?
Yeah.
Let's say they stick with it for a year. What's that they're making? That's an extra 25 grand a year just on that 0.1%. These are the numbers we're talking about. That if you can hook in 300 people, that's the difference, and keep them for the year, that's the difference you're talking about. And chances are, if they keep the belt on Mercedes for a while, and you get people then getting invested in everything else, they could keep probably around 70% of that.
Mate, honestly, like you keep the belt on Mercedes money for as long as you can.
Yeah.
Like you've got a cash cow, like, and do you know what? I've been absolutely bowled over by her because the way she conducts herself, the way that she promotes this company, the way that she has been an ambassador for RevPro, the fact that she is like we're going to have seen her 4 times this year.
Yeah.
By the 8th month,
Mm-hmm.
that is terrific. Like I've got no problem with that. Like part-time wrestlers, yeah, of course they're part-time wrestlers. You got to understand that there are levels to wrestling, and that Mercedes Mone is the top of the game, and RevPro is growing. But yeah, so much we could talk about, mate. But you know what I really want to talk about? I think this match is going to be class.
Yes, same, mate.
I've been really impressed by Emerson Jane. I don't know a tremendous. I don't watch wrestling outside. I don't watch British independent wrestling outside of RevPro. Talked about it so many times.
Doesn't watch any American wrestling either.
I haven't got my Monday Night Raw ticket yet.
Sports Entertainment.
I'm starting to think I might not get one, mate. I might not go to Raw on Monday. It's still that I'm playing dynamic pricing at its game, and I'm currently losing. The prices are going back up.
Oh no!
They dropped, and now there's so few tickets left. They're going back up. Anywho, what I associated with Emerson Jane was a lot of the deathmatch wrestling that has viral clip shared. That's not my scene. That's not my bag. Like,
Same.
Just not for me. And I saw her wrestle a match in TNA when they came over, and I went to Coventry to watch them. So I was kind of like very much like open to let's judge exactly what I see when she comes into RevPro. And just bell to bell, she is everything she does looks so snug. It looks hard hitting. It looks impactful. It just a technically proficient, very very strong performer.
Yes.
She then has this air of she's got this thing about her. So her match with Anita Vaughan on Sunday, I felt would have benefited. So a bit of constructive criticism. I felt like that match would have benefited from between the two wrestlers some vocal communication in the ring. It was Anita was very quiet. Emerson was very quiet. You know, when we talk about like Alexis Falcon is brilliant at trash talking.
Mm-hmm.
Kanji is brilliant at just making a fuckload of noise in the ring while she's wrestling.
Just going to stop you there, right? I was my living room's kind of in 2 halves, right? So there's a big staircase in the middle. So if you're in the other half of the living room, you can hear TV, but you can't see it. I put something on. It was actually I was watching Pep Talks, and he has like the cutaway videos. It was from Uprising, and it was Kanji wrestling, and my wife was in the other half of the room. She went, "You're watching a Kanji match?" I went, "How can you tell?" She went, "Noises."
Yeah, exactly that, mate. And this match on Sunday was very quiet, and I felt, and the crowd were quite quiet for it. Unfortunately, it does seem to be a little bit of a running theme that Southampton tends to be a bit quiet for the women's matches. And I felt like it would benefit from a vocal performance, but it can't be from Emerson Jane because she has this real presence to her by how little she says. Yet it doesn't come across. Some wrestlers that are really quiet come across as a lack of self-confidence in their performance. So they might be fantastic wrestlers, but they're not really confident with speaking.
Yeah.
Especially not in front of a live audience and doing it on the fly. It didn't feel like that with Emerson. It felt like this is my character. This is who I am. This is how I wrestle. I am like a shark circling silently. When she hurt really early on in the match, Anita, something happened where Emerson caught her lip, and throughout the match, she kept touching her lip and looking at Anita, and it was so like encapsulating because she just looked so menacing. And I feel like this will be not only the best Emerson Jane match because she's facing Mercedes Mone, who is obviously an elite level wrestler. I think this is going to be the best Emerson Jane match we've had in RevPro because this is the best clash of styles and personalities. Mone and Kanji are quite similar, and we had a brilliant Kanji and Emerson Jane match. But Mercedes can be the vocal performer, and Emerson can be the silent menace. And I really like that dynamic.
Yeah, I'm gonna put something out there that some people will find really controversial. I know they'll find this controversial. I think this has the potential. I'm not saying it will achieve this, but this has the potential to be the best one-on-one match that Mercedes will have in RevPro so far. And that's not like Sapphire Reed was very, very good against Mercedes. Kanji was excellent, but I hold Emerson up to that same standard as Kanji. Like that's how high, and clearly with her introduction into RevPro, how quickly she's rose up the card, the level of match she was having, the performance she's been put in, the fact that after that amazing Kanji run, Emerson beat her as well. Like, so you've got all of that going on. She's clearly being positioned as a top woman, and I think before this, you could have suggested that she could have been an addition to the Cutthroat Collective. Whereas this alone, I think, will make her and just totally make her as one of the top women in RevPro.
There's two things you've said there that I find really interesting. One, if this is better than the match with Kanji, it would go in the lowest it could be is my second highest rated match of the year in RevPro, because Kanji and Mercedes was number one for a long time until Ricky Knight Jr. and Michael Oku at Summer Sizzler. And I think Emerson Jane is a brilliant heel to have alongside the Cutthroat Collective as an alternative to them.
Yeah.
I've realised who she reminds me of. This is a bit of a wild comparison, but Christian Bale in American Psycho.
Okay.
Like, that's the vibe I get from her when she pulls she smiles, but she just looks like she's going to demolish you.
Okay.
If you're happy to segue, I do know I'd like a new member of the Cutthroat Collective, please. Alexis Falcon.
So before we talk about that, I've just seen it pop up as well. If you don't want spoilers, put hands over your ears. But this is about the AEW ROH tapings. Alexis Falcon is currently there. Oh, my device is sitting right next to me. It's probably going to tell me in a minute it doesn't know what I mean. There we go. Not quite sure how to help you with that. But Falcon had a match against Trish Adora. Well done her. Or Trish Adora it was. Yeah, well done her. I've seen that. Apparently Grado has turned up on ROH, and which makes me wonder if we get a Now We Play, because I know there's an open challenge on AEW, and I thought it might be Grado. And Scotty 2 Hottie has appeared on ROH, tag teaming with his son.
I thought Scotty 2 Hottie was still at WWE.
No, he's I think for about a year now he's been a producer for AEW.
Ah, fair play.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's a nice moment for him. Yeah, Max
anyway,
Caster has an open challenge, does he not?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So at first I thought maybe Grado for that, but now I could think a Michael Oku, or if they want to take someone from up north, maybe a Luke Jacobs. But I think Michael Oku might be the one. Him or Grado, I think, will be the ones going out there later. But Alexis Falcon and the Cutthroat Collective, I think
it just works so well, doesn't it? Like,
it does.
She's a gobshite. She's an
yeah.
Her and Lizzie Evo together. Oh my god! Like, I just want to bang my head against the wall for how annoying they'd be, and I love it. So she's wrestling Persephone. You that feels very much like a big Persephone win. So have Alexis do what Alexis does best and kick her in afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But then have the Cutthroat Collective come out and have her join them. I'm wildly fantasy booking here because maybe none of this is in the plans for Alexis Falcon. Maybe the Cutthroat Collective don't need any additional members. Alex Windsor is still a member of the Cutthroat Collective.
For this weekend, at least.
Yep, and Sapphire Reed is still a member of it for this weekend, at least. We know it's evolving. We know that Sapphire Reed is something's happening with her. Something's happening with Anita Ford. I'm a big Alexis Falcon fan, and I don't want to see her shuffled back out. I feel like she benefits every show she's on for RevPro. Yeah. And it's interesting because I thought I'd seen her a lot more than I had. I've only seen her wrestle for RevPro 3 times. Kanji in Coventry last year, a tag match in the 229, and then recently in Sheffield. Yeah. She makes such a big impression when she does appear that it feels like I am so familiar with her work. But I completely get her and everything about her from the 8-9 minutes that she's in the ring at time.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, isn't it?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. That is what you want. There's one match I think left on this one that's been announced that we haven't spoken about, and I'm just going to say because we probably spoke about it a lot last time. Jay Joshua versus Ishii. Mate, I'm just going to sum it up. Say less.
Say less.
Yeah. Night two. Also, I'm pretty sure there's a piece you can read on DaveLamark.com. Night 2.
When Dave Lamark met Connor Mills and Jay Joshua.
There we go. Look at that seamless save.
At the merch table on Sunday that was recorded for that piece.
Wonderful stuff. Right, Sunday then. Sorry, I keep saying Sunday. Saturday. I keep forgetting it's Friday and Saturday. If I say Sunday, I mean Saturday. Okay, so let's take one of those competitors, or two of the men you just mentioned there, and talk about the Great British Tag League final. For me, I've been banging the drum all the time that the only way this could be made better is if they somehow found a way to have Young Guns in this as well, right? That was my match I wanted. I knew deep down I was never getting that, right? Based on Andy Quilden style booking, that was a pipe dream that was never going to happen because it's been established in RevPro canon that in actual fact, when you get to a tie, a playoff then happens to make sure you get finalists versus finalists, right? So I knew it wasn't going to happen. This was the match I wanted. Like, this match, this was, with due respect to everyone else throughout, there has been a lot of good matches in this tag league. This feels the money match. And when I spoke earlier about how GYV versus Young Guns could be the tag match of the year until the following day, this is the reason why. It's no surprise that my 3 favourite tag matches of the year two of them contained Mills and Joshua. So like they're just so good at what they do. They're a breath of fresh air. Look, in the lead up to anniversary, they've taken a few bumps in the road to help elevate Sha. I think this is a match that no matter who wins, I'll be happy, and whoever loses, I'll be disappointed, because they're all so great at what they do. They're all so deserving of a big moment. And look, this is where you might as well call me George the Mark at this point, because I just want them as people to someone's mentioned this before. They're like, yeah, I don't really have this parasocial relationship. It's not that sort of thing, but it's at the same time as you just see the work these guys put in, right? You hear about the miles they put in, all of that, and you know that just having this great match on this scale anyway will be incredible, right? And it could lead big things for them. I just want them all to feel like they've achieved something, which is so silly to say about pro wrestling, right? But at the same time, I just want them all to win, all to be recognised. Yeah, they're all fucking great guys. They all deserve it. I'm going to be very happy. And I've just sounded like a mark.
Mate, there's nothing wrong with sounding like a mark. I didn't predict this final, but that's because I was thinking very, very logically, how can we get everybody on? I never thought it would be 2 10-match cards. I thought it would be 2 7-match cards, and therefore we're going to get everybody on the card once. My thinking was, well, we know Mills and Joshua are on night 1, so Sons of Southampton can be on night 2. But if you'd asked me at the start which match I would like to see at the anniversary show as the final the most out of the options, this would have been it. Mm-hmm. Even though Andy booked it brilliantly, that I never necessarily felt like it was a given that this was where we were going. It was very, very open. I really want Mills and Joshua to win. I think it would benefit them the most. And I feel like as RevPro stalwarts of the last year, it would be really, really good for them. I like the idea. Mills in my head is of the Oku, Leon Slater. Well, really, actually, no. For me, it was always Mills, Oku, Jacobs, and RKJ. They were the 4 main guys of RevPro when I first started going to RevPro. And they were the 4 pillars that's kind of been that was talked about a few years ago with AEW. They felt like the 4 pillars of RevPro, and it felt a bit harsh on Robbie X because he was right there as well. But Robbie being a cruiserweight, and often used to bang open the card, was kind of positioned not necessarily lower down on in-ring quality or anything, just where he ranked in the promotion. But people have risen to the top. Leon is now right up there. Zaya is right up there. And Mills he has this great history in RevPro. 2-time tag champion, tag league winner, cruiserweight champion. But his cruiserweight championship run didn't hit the gears I wanted it to. His tag run didn't hit the gears I wanted it to. I want him to have this. I want him to be the only person to have ever won the tag league twice. To then go on and beat the Young Guns and be a 3-time tag champion. And then him and Joshua have this great tag title run. And I think Mills is better when with Joshua, and Joshua is better when with Mills, because they are still 2 of the best singles wrestlers around. Mm-hmm. But they are also an amazing tag team. So this is a perfect example. You know, like how we talk sometimes about the phrase, the whole is greater than the sum of its equal parts.
Yeah.
This is like the opposite of that. The equal parts are really big, and then when we put them together, we've just got this like extra big thing. It's not
Mhm.
like one carries the other.
No.
It's just they don't need to be a tag team. They're both amazing singles wrestlers, but the fact that we get them as a tag team every now and then is just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain if Manders and Shire won. For me, it's like CPF and Barcelona Blacklist last year. CPF being regularly in RevPro benefited from winning the trios titles more than Barcelona Blacklist would. Although I
Yeah.
do think Blacklist will win it this year, with it being out in Spain and just the work they've done
Yeah.
whenever they've been called upon for RevPro, just as a little side note. But I think this match is going to be absolutely banging. The
Yeah.
fact that we have this, mate, so many. For Saturday, we've only got 6 matches in so far. So we're getting 4 more in the next 48 hours. Less than 48 hours.
It's gotta be. Yeah. I was gonna say 48 hours right there, mate.
In the next 36 hours, we've got 4 more matches coming. Of these 6 matches, we know RKJ and Sha Samuels is headlining it. That's been said. Leon Slater and Michael Oku can headline a show. The Great British Tag League final probably wouldn't headline because I can't think of a time that a tag team match has ever headlined a big RevPro show. Although obviously we've got the All Star Tag match headlining Global Wars, like a story-driven tag match.
Mm-hmm.
But it's perfect to go on just before the main event. But if it goes on just before the main event, where does Leon and Oku go? Fucking Zack Sabre Jr. and Desire, where does that fit in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only thing at this point that and Mercedes. Where does Mercedes fit in?
And you've also forgot Nino and Robbie X.
Which at the moment is the only one where I'm like, well, that makes sense to open it.
Yeah.
Like, open, because it's going to be a big stage for Nino, right? Let him go out there and do it first. Do you know what I mean? Rather than have him sitting there the whole way through, kind of building up the nerves, let him get out there first and get it out of his system. And also, fucking Robbie X opens cards so well that would be a great way to open. Presumably, the Mercedes match will go on in the first half because we know that some of the women involved have got to get over to Walthamstow to represent Pro Wrestling Eve.
Yep.
But like that's just crazy, isn't it? Because I said from the start, Mercedes Mone will headline every show she does for RevPro, and there's another opportunity where that's wrong.
We've got 2 shows where it looks like she won't headline.
Yeah.
What's all well? Actually, not two where it looks like 2 where she won't. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Do you know what I would actually do? I would have either the Tag League or the Mercedes match open the show. Just open it.
Can you imagine if Mercedes opened on
fucking do it, like open it, because it then sorts out that issue because we know that Nina is main eventing that show, I think, or is she? I thought Saf's main eventing, I think. So Nina is also on the.
Sapphire was.
Yeah, Sapphire is main eventing. It's Nina that's not main eventing, but so she's got to be somewhere on that card, right? We know from the conversation with Andy on the Graphic podcast that he and Dan Reed have had discussions about timings, which look to be what we've seen out there as well. That explains some of the timings that may have been put out for day 2. Put this one on first and just let them get over there, because it just makes it so easy for talent. And what a fucking statement it makes to go, we have Mercedes Mone, we have a TNA wrestler in Danny Luna, we have an AEW wrestler in Alex Windsor, and they're going on first.
Forbidden Door, TNA, AEW, like,
yeah,
CMLL. Like, it's just, this is somebody. So I shared someone's post earlier, and they were like, at this point, like, RevPro show looks more Forbidden Door than the AEW one does. And I get the fact that AEW's Forbidden Door is still an AEW show, isn't it? So there is going to be lots of AEW matches. So that's not a neg on them. But mate, it's just Danny. Have you ever thought about what Danny Luna and Mercedes Mone in the same ring at the same time would look like? I know they're not fighting each other, but it's just blows my little mind, mate.
Yeah, same, mate. Like, just a pairing that, like, everyone has spoken about them as a pairing against each other. Fucking hell, this is absolute inception. Sorry, I've just seen Dave the Mark looking proper David Brent, wearing his Adam Priest t-shirt. Yeah. Good friend Jamie at Grapple Theory has dropped a video giving his prediction, or everyone giving their most anticipated match of the weekend.
Yeah.
Just all that's popped up. And yeah, there's Dave the Mark. Glorious head of hair as well. I'm just going to say as a sidebar, I fucking hate that you wear hats all the time, mate. Like, genuinely. Fewer thing pisses me off because you have a glorious head of hair. And if I had a head of hair like yours, Sorry?
Getting some greys in there.
Mate, I wouldn't care. I was saying this to the wife of the weekend, right? I don't have many greys in my hair. But that's probably because half of my head of hair isn't even there anymore. I would sooner have a grey head of hair. But yeah, if I had a head of hair like yours, I'd never wear a hat. Anyway.
I've been looking forward to getting the grey hairs for years.
Distinguished,
like,
mate.
I love the kind of like the salt and pepper look. Like, I had a massive man crush on Jeff Cobb when he had his salt and pepper beard. He's never looked the same since. This is, yeah. To be fair, I only tend to wear hats if I'm going to wrestling and for the podcast. Don't tend to wear them other times. So the hair does get a bit of sunlight.
Good man. But
do you still think that Robbie X is defeating Nino Bryan?
Yes, 100%. I think
that's
again. This is with great respect to Nino. I don't think this was the match that we were going to get. This is one where I do think potentially plans have changed, and I think they could have changed a number of times. I think the initial match here was going to be Ridgeway versus Leon Cage. That's where I felt this one was going originally, because both men earned their spots. I think with the Leon Cage injury and the Ridgeway injury, I think there was a double pivot done there. Ridgeway comes back, gets the statement match, and then you put a statement performance by going, hey, look, Robbie X is getting booked all around the world now. Let's put the title on him. One, because he deserves it. That's not to say that the only reason to do that, but the guy is in all these places because he deserves the opportunity to be there. And then he has earned the opportunity by doing what he's done when he's been out there. To think that even just this time last year, we were like, when is Robbie getting booked in New Japan? When is Robbie getting booked in Mexico? And now we're here. He's been there multiple times. Like,
you don't even blink at it now.
No.
And you're like, oh, Robbie's going up to Mexico again. Is he? Oh, wicked! Like, it's not even a shock or a good for him moment anymore. It's just like, yeah, that's what Robbie does.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a big believer in putting belts on your biggest stars, and Robbie is the biggest star of the cruiserweight division. I also completely understand the need, and Andy talks really well about this on the Grapple podcast when he's talking about NXT Europe and lessons learned from NXT UK and how RevPro future-proofed themselves through NXT UK by building up new stars. And Nino Bryan, from where he was this time last year, which was, taking people's tickets on the door, to being Cruiserweight champion, has been an excellent use of building up a new star. But I don't think there is any harm in him now. You're never going to take away the fact that he was Cruiserweight champion. No. You're never going to take away the fact that he was a J-Cup winner.
Nope.
Let him go on the chase again. I'm a big believer in the baby face chase. and Robbie can take the belt with him to other countries. He can make it more global than anybody else can, and it's refreshing. I loved Robbie X Cruiserweight Champion in 2022, 2023 time, but that was babyface Robbie X. This is prick Robbie X.
Yes.
Like, I love prick Robbie X. Let him go out and be a prick with the belt.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. That this version of Robbie X, I was having this conversation with someone, and someone said to me, and look, the way they said it, I don't think is the way they intended it, but they were like, "Oh, just bored with Robbie," and I think what that is it's just the same thing every time, and I think it's damning with faint praise, because I think we've said it before, we've all been guilty of taking someone for granted, and Robbie X is one of those people. That Robbie X, if you could pick him up and put him back in 2001 when I was watching at the time, he would have been Robbie X. Effectively, Amazing Red is what Robbie X is now, and to a degree, Robbie X now clears Amazing Red back then. I'm saying what I'm saying. He is that good, but as a good guy, lovely, like happy guy, just happy cruiserweight, gone out, did good shit. Yeah, great. I feel since he's turned heel, I just get that little bit of extra edge from him. I get that, like I said before, we get that a little bit of extra snap in his offense. His strikes are just that little bit snappier. He does a little dickhead moves a bit more. He gives it to the crowd a bit more. There's just something a little bit more there than the guy who comes out and does great wrestling, which is fucking weird to say that, I know, but we're at a stage of RevPro where great wrestling sometimes isn't good enough anymore, right? Like, to be at the top level of the company. That's mad to say that, but that is where the generation is going. So reinventing himself in War Dogs has been so good for him. I want to see Robbie being insufferable dickhead with the belt for as long as possible, and just denigrating anyone that tries to step up to his level. I think it'll be so good. What you could then do with that belt is you could genuinely, if you find the right opponent, you could headline a show, be it a Steven-ish show or a Wolf show. You could headline it with Robbie X defending that belt against someone if you got the right opponent in against him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to Stevenage to see Robbie X defend the Cruiserweight Championship against Rich Swann, headlining match. You know, that was the main event of that show. I think it might have been a Raw deal or something like that. Absolutely, like, and it's been since Robbie held the belt that I've felt like that about the Cruiserweight Championship, with the exception of when Sha went after it from Connor Mills, and Sha did what Sha does. I use the phrase a lot. He makes lemon parfait out of lemons, not just lemonade. He takes anything he's given and he turns it into gold. And he had me so invested in him trying to win that Cruiserweight Championship, trying to drop the weight to do it, and it was brilliant. That's that very specific moment was the one time the Cruiserweight Championship has felt like really big, but it wasn't the champion making it; it was the challenger.
Yeah.
And then you think when Oku had it, it was a really big deal. When Robbie had it, it was almost as big a deal. When Luke had it, it felt like a step down from Oku, but Luke was still finding himself as a singles wrestler. He wasn't the Luke Jacobs that he is now. He was still tremendous. Don't get me wrong. But for those people that I can't imagine Luke Jacobs as Cruiserweight champion, that's because he wasn't the beast that he is now. He was still finding his style and finding his body shape and everything about it. Where do you want to go next, mate? Because we've got 3 massive matches left.
So I have a question for you, and I want to frame this next match in a particular way. Do you think Zack Sabre Jr. versus Isaiah has the potential to be the best Zack Sabre Jr. match in RevPro history?
Oh, mate, that's what a fucking question that is. I'm going to disappoint you and say no. The only reason I'm saying no is because when Zack Sabre Jr., some of the matches that he has had in RevPro, headlining RevPro shows with the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship on the line, like against the like of Will Ospreay, against the likes of AJ Styles, they were not only insanely good matches, like 5-star matches you're talking about, they also had the title on the line, so they had the stakes and the jeopardy.
Yeah.
I don't think there's jeopardy in Zack Sabre Jr. versus Cesaro.
I get that.
Zack's not going to lose to Cesaro. He's the IWGP champion. The joy is going to be similar, not exactly the same, but similar to when Jordan Breaks wrestled Cesaro. Sorry, when Jordan Breaks wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. Cesaro isn't Jordan Breaks. Jordan Breaks is a pure wrestler, and Cesaro is different to that. But the joy was in, I'm just going to sit back and soak this in, because this is going to be two masters of their art performing live for me. I don't think it can go to where previous Zack matches had from 5 to 10 years ago, because they don't have a championship on the line. They're not going to be in the main event slot. They're not going to be the focus of everything. But I do think it has the potential to be the best Zack Sabre Jr. match we've had since the pandemic.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
if it can be better than Zack Sabre Jr. versus Conor Mills, then we are in for a fucking treat.
Yeah, I think this will exceed Zack Sabre Jr. Conor Mills. I think this will exceed Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hechicero. Both matches, which I thought were fucking incredible. I do think this has the potential to be the best, but I also take your point about, I'm talking about from a pure match point of view, and I think what's allowing my little brain to separate this slightly is we speak a lot about jeopardy in matches, right? And you've said there's no jeopardy, and you're right. But the way this one is being positioned, right? And this is so weird how my brain works, because it's being positioned as it's about the art of wrestling, right? That to me is what the primary objective of this is. The primary objective of this one isn't to win the match. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's just like the art, presenting like the best art.
The purest art, right?
Yeah, and that's why. So my brain's going, you know what? It doesn't matter, because in my mind, Cesaro knows he's not winning this, or he thinks he's not going to win it, but he's going to make sure that the best art he does is in this match.
And do you know what? I think that there have been some beautiful stories told in pro wrestling history where a wrestler's going into the match knowing it's very, very unlikely they've got like the tiniest chance of winning, but it's not about winning to them.
Yeah,
it's about something else. And for me, the story is, can Cesaro find his smile again? Jay Joshua literally wiped the smile off Cesaro's face. Like, if you're listening to this and you don't watch RevPro Weekly, watch Live in Coventry from July on RevPro On Demand. Just fast forward to the main event, because that's the one that's going to be really relevant to this. Watch the last man standing match between Cesaro and Jay Joshua, because one, it will introduce you to Jay Joshua, who is an incredible wrestler, and two, it will explain why Cesaro is on this arc that he's on. He has bounced into RevPro like this plucky kid who kind of, what the hell am I doing here? But I'm beating everybody. Had this wonderful journey over the last 12 months, and then found himself being dragged into a dogfight with this Rottweiler of a wrestler who wouldn't let him wrestle, just beat him black and blue. And Cesare's trying to find the love of wrestling again, and that's why he wants Zack Sabre Jr., the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
And that's why this story is so special to me. It doesn't have the jeopardy that I look for in the. And if you look at the top 10 Dave the Mark matches this year on the website, they're almost all championship matches. Because I'm an absolute sucker for the belt and the prize and the next champion and all that jazz. But this storyline is why there is so much more to wrestling than just wrestler A wants to fight wrestler B, so they're going to have a wrestling match.
Yeah, my prediction at the end of this match, you just said, can Cesaro find his smile? I don't think he can, because I think he's going to be a little teary-eyed as he's saying his goodbyes. I think this is Cesaro's swan song. There's obviously a lot of the WWE stuff that went on, or tryouts that were going on. I can't believe for a second that some kind of approach hasn't been made for the guy. Just a little thing. Yeah.
Mike DeVecchio and Igor Blonde, they've had matches in the last week, haven't they? Where it was a proper, we're leaving, this is our last one ever.
Yes. They have.
Very interesting, isn't it?
And also in Southampton, I don't know if you caught it, but I've had this in my mind for a while now. And in Southampton, if you go back and watch it, the way he just seemingly says goodbye to everyone. I said to him on Sunday, I was like, I said, can I grab a selfie? I went, because it's probably the last time I'm going to have a chance to this, right? And he was like, no. And like, he was, honest to God, if he is going, he no-sold it to me perfectly. But
okay, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. Last time we did a podcast, I said to everybody, I don't know what you're doing now, but I'm going to go and interview Cesaro. And that interview has not seen the light of day. Because we never got to fully complete it. We got to do part of it. We were going to do part of it then, we were going to do part of it later. And we just haven't been able to get the second part up. And I don't want to put it out as half a thing, because it's not really a thing unless it's complete. So and he has messaged me every couple of days for the last 2 weeks saying, I haven't forgotten, I'm going to try and fit it in on this day or at that time. And he keeps coming back, and I'm so sorry, like something's come up. Like, he is very, very busy right now. On Sunday, he walked past me. The second half, I stood on the steps and watched down. And he came up and he gave me a big hug, and he was like tomorrow, like we'll find time tomorrow. And I was like, mate, yeah, like honestly, if we can, we can. If we can't, we can't. It's not a big deal. It's just a bit of content, just to promote your match. Like, no biggie whatsoever. But you could see where he was like, no, it means a lot to me. I want to do it. And this is a guy who, from the very first time I ever wrote something about him, when he was still in Spain, I'd never met him personally, has like treated me with the apps, like so much more than you could imagine, and like so much more than I deserve. He asked me once to have a photo with me. That's nuts, right?
Yeah.
Like, he said, can we get a photo? And I was like, oh mate, I've got a photo, don't worry. He's like, no, I want it. Like, yeah, of course we can, dig it. Like, I was just trying to not take up too much of his time.
Yeah.
Like, it does feel like our time with him is coming to an end. Whether it's now, whether it's not, whether he even knows if it's now or not, because we know that these big companies can leave people in limbo a little bit, where it's like, yeah, we want to make it happen, like get everything, like, you know, we'll talk next month, and then, you know, next month comes by and nothing happens. Like, we don't know. There's massive billionaire companies with a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But if this is a goodbye, what a way to say goodbye.
Yeah,
you
agree.
Think of a better opponent in the world for Cesaro than Zack Sabre Jr. I don't think you can.
And this is also why I'm kind of thinking of it, if the artist wants to go on his most ultimate art possible. It's a fitting end. And like, I don't want to lose him, but we know we're going to lose him at some point.
We have to. I want to lose him. Like,
yes.
This is the thing that people have to understand.
We don't want to, but we do want to.
We don't want to lose him because we love him. We love getting to watch him. It's one day I'm going to be blessed when I look at my list of who I've seen wrestle and how many times, and I see Zazaya and I see a number above 50, and I think, wow, that's nuts. But if he doesn't, then he never got to fulfill his potential.
Yeah.
There's nothing sad. I'm a teacher. There's nothing sadder than seeing young people not fulfill their potential.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Speaking of fulfilling potential.
Yes.
Leon Slater's beating Michael Oku, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see how he can't.
I'm going to be so invested in that match because there is a part of me that doesn't believe Michael Oku can lose on big stage in the big match. I went nuts when RKJ beat him, which is so not like me because I cheer the good guys, I boo the bad guys, even though I understand wrestling. Like, I know that they're all lovely people. It's not. It's the characters they're performing as.
Yeah.
But I couldn't help myself. Like, I just got lost in the moment, was cheering for the baddie to win because for the story it felt so right. But I wasn't convinced it was the story that was going to play out in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. For the story, Leon Slater needs to win. For everything tells me Leon Slater should win this. But I have been conditioned to believe in superhuman Michael Oku, who, Super Cena, right? Like, and that's not criticism because Michael Oku has never lost. He's never won a wrestling match, but I wasn't happy to see him win.
Yeah.
As a fan, But this is the one. If he wins this one, I will be a little bit like, oh, I really want Leon to win.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like this feels like the turning of the tide moment, and I love the backstage interview between those two and Andy earlier in the year up to Doncaster. And
did you see the new one?
Yeah, so I was gonna say, but the difference between then and now is even further, like light years further. Like,
mate,
Leon,
how much better in such a short period of time have these wrestlers got at these promos and they're talking and everything they're doing? Like, I'm such a fucking mark. I don't think people are necessarily giving the praise there to realise that these guys are being given an opportunity to practice something that is going to benefit them in their career when they leave RevPro.
Agreed. Yeah.
And it's, you just don't get opportunities to talk in wrestling unless you're the main event and you cut a little go home promo. Like, you don't really get an opportunity to talk in wrestling on a weekly basis unless you work for WWE or AEW or TNA.
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it in New Japan or CMLL or something like that because the crowd don't understand your language. Like, only recently have you started to hear Gabe Kidd cut a promo in Japan with Chris Charlton translating it.
Yeah.
Like, Kenny Omega learned Japanese to be able to do it. Like, Ospreay even didn't really do it until like the last year. Zack's learned Japanese to be able to do it. Like, you're talking about literally 3 companies in the world where you get to do this. And even then, how many people get talking segments when it's TV time and every second is money? Like, it's...
Yeah, that's it.
I've been so impressed. And that, like, honestly, go on, like, again, if you're new to RevPro and you've stumbled across this video and somehow you're still listening this far deep into it, go on RevPro's YouTube channel and just look at some of the content on there, because there is some really good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the chance for them to even just get out there and have these moments to practice is something that the indies just generally don't afford people in a way that
credit where credit's due.
Yeah,
it's something I always thought Progress was really good at.
Same. I said the same. Yeah.
Company, but Progress runs once a month, and there might be a couple of videos. You know, I always saw Spike Trevay ones when he was champion. That would always come up on my feeds. I loved some stuff with Alexis Falcon and Charles Crowley that were just so weird and wonderful and quirky.
Yeah.
But this is every single wrestler, every single week.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it, is the Progress stuff. I really like how they interspersed it in between their shows. But we're getting, like I said, we're getting these YouTube videos, we're getting everyone's getting to practice, everyone's getting to learn, grow and develop. And it was something that Andy himself said, that no other company gives a platform to the wrestlers. Like, if before this was happening, it's because the wrestlers were doing it off their own back, not because they were getting the platform to do it. So, yeah, I think a Leon Slater win. Dave, we've got one more match to talk about, so let's do so, because I need to go and get some dinner as well.
Me too, bro. Me too.
I'm going to frame this one for you, because I think you're going to have a very different view on this than I am. And I want to see if, one, you can change my opinion, and two, I just think it'd be nice for this podcast to go out on what would probably be a bit... I'm not going to say I'm going out on a negative note, but not as hyped as I think you would be, right? So,
an unbiased, fair opinion, right? Because I am biased. I am, because one, I'm invested in RevPro beyond what the average person is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like I'm an autistic child with a special interest, right? That's what RevPro is. It's very, very similar to watching my little autistic son go through his life with his special interest. It's just RevPro is mine. Yeah. And I'm very, very, very fond of Sha Samuels, the person, the man. I've got quite a long history with him in terms of getting opportunities to do work with him, and just he's always been an absolute gentleman to me, to my kids. You said about Grapple Theory have released a video of people talking about it. So Jamie sent me a message saying, could I send him a 20-second clip on which match of all of Forbidden Door weekend I'm most excited for and why. And my response was, so in that video, I said, the match I'm most looking forward to is Sha Samuels versus RKJ, because no other match will have me as emotionally invested in it as this match. Because either this for me is like Bryan Danielson last year for AEW, except obviously Bryan Danielson is a legend of professional wrestling, but AEW is this big kind of, to me, this big like faceless company that I watch on telly, whereas RevPro is this thing that I live and breathe. Either Sha Samuels gets to win the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship in front of his children, in front of his mum, in front of one of the biggest RevPro crowds he's ever performed in. The man who last year opened the anniversary show to this year headlining it. It will be the biggest moment of his career. You know, you could say the day he signed a WWE contract was the biggest moment of his career. But in terms of in-ring, this is the biggest moment of his career.
I'm going to just say...
That's wonderful. Or he loses, I never get to watch a Sha Samuels match ever again. And maybe never see him at a show again.
Yeah.
That genuinely makes me feel really, really sad.
So I said to a good friend of the podcast, Marty, right, he and I have been texting, and I've not told you this, so this is the first time you're hearing it. I said, either way, at the end of the second night, Dave's crying.
Yeah, genuinely.
Like, genuinely, and I'm not saying that as a piss take. I was like, Dave is crying at the end of the second night, no matter what.
Right. Like, I'm not being funny, yeah? I didn't cry when any of my kids were born. I didn't cry at my mum's funeral or my dad's funeral. I'm not an emotional person. I get angry and I get happy. They're the two emotions that I have. That is what my wife says to me all the time. She says, you do understand you're a sociopath because you don't have emotions. You feel anger, which comes from frustration, and you feel happy. And there's nothing in between. You don't do sadness or empathy or sympathy or anything like that. But genuinely, because I'm not exaggerating, because when I talk about it, I can feel it. I can feel myself getting choked a little bit. I genuinely think I will cry on Saturday night.
Yeah, I do too. I know you well enough to know that that's how you're going to react to this match, no matter what the result. So let's put it right. So, and I think this is where, for me, I mean, obviously, I don't have the relationship with Sha Samuels that you do, but I really like the man that he is. In fact, one of the first times I ever got recognised on the street, and I could tell by the way he reacted to me, was Sha. So last year, when me and the missus were on the way to Riot Cap, we crossed over the road. We're going into the Tesco's, and I wasn't wearing a wrestling t-shirt, and he just gave me he looked at me and went, oi, but not in like a character way, just and I was like, I said to my wife, I was just like, I think he recognises me, you know, like, which was a really weird concept, because in terms of what we've been doing, by that point last year, I've been podcasting about a month and a half, 2 months. So, like, not saying that he watched or anything, but obviously it somehow had come across. And then we've obviously done podcasts with him. Like, honest to God, one of the nicest guys. Like, I felt so bad for him that night, because we were having all these
experience we've ever had trying to do a podcast.
And I've said this, right? He was open about it, that it was his end the issues were happening on, right? That it was all to do with the internet at his house. I take it as a personal affront to me that when someone else is having bad internet, that it's not them, it's me. It's my fault, not theirs. Even though he's told me he's got bad internet, it's my fault that the connection's not working and I'm not giving this guy the experience he should be having, right? That's a weird hang-up I need to get over. It makes me feel more important than I am. Fucking main character in someone else's bad internet.
No,
but
he's our guest, and we're taking up his time, and you feel responsible.
That's it.
You're sitting there with a computer in front of you and buttons and tech, and
yeah,
I'm sitting there looking at my phone.
And
you're the brains behind the operation.
The lack of a better word, I am the producer of the show. So if you've got issues with anything, speak to me. It's my fault. But at the same time, like, jokingly aside, that is what you kind of like, you feel like. And this guy, he went to every single room he could in his house to film. Like, genuinely,
all his family, didn't we? All
genuinely,
his family appeared in the video, like, him be like asking his girls to get out the room. So
he's like, room, would you mind? And that's insane. And that made me feel even worse, because his kids are being affected for our content. Like, can you get out of your room so we can do this? But this is how much the guy wanted to make it work, right? And I've seen over the years the impact he's had on the scene. All of that, right? And I've seen what he's done. I've seen how well respected he is. So I'm never going to begrudge Sha the man his moment, right? And I've said this all along, that, look, this for me isn't what I would put as the main event. Okay, it's not. Like, it's a match on the card I'm not against, but it's not one that I think I would finish the main with. But this is what we're getting. Okay? I'm not against the guys involved, right? This to me doesn't feel like the main event level match. And I think there's a couple of things in this, right? I think the booking of it to get here has felt super rushed. And it screams of massive pivots, right? And I'll give you my couple of reasons there, right? We looked like we were going down a Josh James, Sha Samuels route. Then injuries happened. Then that was blown off very quickly, which I think at that point is when it seems like when Sha did the whole retirement thing. If he's going to win the title, and then there seemed to be a very big effort, and I've said this before, to associate Sha with winning big scalps, people almost trying to draw a little bit of their heat onto them. I don't like using this comparison because it seems like derogatory to some people, but I don't mean it in a derogatory way, but it almost feels a little bit like when Jinder Mahal was put in that position to go, we really need to skyrocket the guy up to get him ready, right? And that's clearly because Sha had a big family holiday booked before the show, and you're very limited on time, right? So they couldn't, and that's just the thing where they couldn't do it any other way. They had to work with what they've got. And look, outside of that, with having to work with what they've got, they did a good job of that, right? It just felt that very much like, oh, we're going to pair you with Zazaya, we're going to put you against Mills and Joshua, you're going to beat Mills, and like all those things, which it does make me feel a certain way that this is obvious, like we're just trying to do this. So that was that. Ricky, for me, in 2025, has not been the most inspired wrestler in the way I connect with him. I said this in 2024 as well. There was a period, high stakes 2024. I was one of the biggest Ricky Knight Jr. fans there. Like, screaming at the top of my lungs, like, slapping the guy's hand, everything. Like, in the way he connected me, he drew emotion out of me. Going into Anniversary 2024, none of that was there. And we've been waiting for that, right? We had sparks of that at Global Wars last time against Michael Oku. And we're like, okay, cool, something's happening now. And then nothing happened. He's won the title. So much I was like, Ricky is just a placeholder for like whoever Michael's going to go on and face at the Anniversary, being Sha Samuels. Now, I've heard various degrees of analysis on this. One is, if you are going to have Sha retire, Ricky is so good at being able to do that because everyone hates Ricky anyway.
Ricky benefits.
He does, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there is that.
Kind of heat.
Yeah. What I'm going to add, so I've run down a lot of what I've not been as keen on, right? So, like I said, Sha is very good.
Can I just say, everything you've said is fair.
Thank you, mate.
There's no bad faith takes there. There's nothing there that I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, actually, I disagree with you there. You're entitled to your opinion and you're entitled to feel how you do about that. But everything you've said is constructive.
100%, yeah. 100%.
And I know I'm the biggest mark, and I bet there are some people that don't listen to this or don't read my stuff because they're like, oh, he's just going to fucking wet his pants over RevPro again. I get that. Completely get that. I've got no problem with constructive criticism. No problem with it at all. And that's exactly what you've just done. Everything you've just said is like absolutely fair there, mate. Carry on.
Yeah. So then we've got what I think has worked kind of well, right? So Ricky's title reign. When he came out in London, I thought he looked good, right? Everything about what he did, it was at 229, came out with the belt on. Everything he did looked really good. Promo felt locked in, didn't feel rambling, anything like that, which is another thing of Ricky's that I would say felt like that at the time. There was elements on Sunday at Southampton of that again, the good stuff. But again, there seems to be with RevPro a lack of how they're presenting Ricky, as opposed, right? So he's the killer, and yes, he was playing with his food a little bit, but in my opinion, that match went on way longer than it should have done. And I know how to tune out the bad fake takes around me because they just don't like Ricky. because of whatever reason. Okay, you have your opinions on that. I felt that match, while it wouldn't be necessarily be a squash match, it shouldn't have gone on that long. I'm just getting it now to see what the time was, because I'm wondering now whether this was just one of those ones that felt longer than it actually went for.
I'd say the first probably 90 seconds were Harry kind of running away and just avoiding him.
Yeah. It doesn't have a time up on Cage Match yet, so I can't even say.
Gadge?
Yeah, oh. I know. But it felt like it went on longer than it should. It felt like you need to get the mixture of the guy who is the killer and the guy who wants to play with his food a little bit. And I feel like it went on that little bit too long.
The one thing that I liked about it, and maybe I'm picking up what I think are breadcrumbs and actually it's dust on the floor. I think it told me that Ricky he's not gonna pin or submit Sha Samuels. He has no intention of doing that.
Yeah.
He is going to force a stoppage.
Yeah.
Because when Ricky hit the third, the minute he hit a Kishi driver, I was like, he's going to do 3. He's going to do 3 because that's what he's done. Keeps doing 3. It's overkill.
And that I didn't mind, I'll add.
But when he then sat down and was doing like the haymakers to the side of the head, and I really, really hope it's Oscar Harding in the stripes on Saturday. So I feel that's a really important detail. Make it the same referee who stopped Harry. I think he's gonna really humble Sha. That's his plan, whether it's what happens or not. Humble Sha and force Oscar to end it, which is why when you said about playing with his food, I liked that part. Personally, I don't think Harry needed to get any offense in at all.
No, and I think that's kind of the parts I mean. So I agree with you that the play with his food part, I didn't like. I said I didn't like. I didn't mind, and I liked actually because again, it shows his ruthless side to Ricky. Right, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking the ruthless side, the killer. Don't let Harry get anything in. Just have Ricky just catch him very quickly, end him very quickly. Right, you can do everything that was done there. I think could have been done in a much leaner way. Right, and I think it would have still had. I actually think it would have had a bigger impact because and I think that's what it felt like to me, where it felt a bit muddled because of that. And look, here's the other thing. I think that came on the card. Let's see where it came because I think this could have affected it. That came in the second half. Obviously, we had the issue with Jane Nero having to withdraw, which could have meant that more time was added because. This could have been a shorter segment potentially, but because other stuff was going on, that could have affected it.
I wasn't as big on Live in Southampton as I felt you were when I saw you at the show. I felt like there were a few matches which felt like they just didn't engage me as much as I expected them to, or they leaned quite heavily on tropes. For example, I didn't really like the main event. It just felt like, we're doing that thing again where the person's injured and it's like the third time I've seen that in Southampton in the last year and a half.
They're leaning very heavily on the David Francisco gets a pop, and look, I love David Francisco again, the man, and some of the stuff that he does is really, really, really entertaining. And I'm never again. It must be wonderful for him to cultivate voice because what he's done is fantastic in Southampton, right? He's captivated people, but the more you go to the well, eventually it's going to lose its spark.
Yeah, and the thing is, especially because of where I stood second half, I really liked that spot that I've taken the last couple of shows. I stand at the top of the stairs and I can see the whole room.
He likes to look down on everyone.
I can see the ring. I can see everything that's happening. I've got perfect view. The wrestlers are performing to the camera and I'm standing next to the camera so I can see it, but I can also see the entire crowd's reaction. So I'm very much aware that I'm in the minority of people that didn't really enjoy the main event. But it just felt a little bit like it was leaning on some tropes, doing a bit of like, kind of like, oh, this will pop them, like this will be good. And it was almost to the point of a parody.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I would agree.
And, it's probably as critical as I've ever been on it. The Harry and Ricky match, you could lobby some of the same criticism at. The way that it was very predictable how Harry would try and bounce away from Ricky at some point. He's going to catch him. Like, it would have been quite refreshing if it had just been Ricky kills him.
Yes, and that's what I think it needed.
Harry doesn't lose out. If anything, you just feel more sorry for Harry.
Yeah.
And then the time that doesn't happen against someone, you get an even bigger emotional reaction. What I will say is I think the best performance I've seen from Ricky so far since he's been champion was in Sheffield. And I know that lots of people that will listen to this, lots of people go to lots of shows, but Sheffield has the fewest crossover of fans with fans from the other areas of the country. We're starting to get a Sheffield Coventry crossover. We're starting to get a Sheffield Wolverhampton crossover, but obviously I've only done 2 shows.
Mm-hmm.
But Ricky and Sheffield, when he came out and he confronted Sha, they cut a brilliant promo on Sha, killed Sha, killed Harry. That was the killer. And I've really enjoyed all the other performances as well. I think he has, especially the backstage ones, I think his promo's been clearer, more concise, more focused, better. Really enjoyed the one with Dave Bradshaw. And I'll tell you this, I was watching it this morning in bed, and my missus was laying next to me, but she was still asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew she was awake because she started chuckling to herself. And she was chuckling every time Ricky was dickhead. And, like my wife thinks he's brilliant. He's not for everybody. He is a heel. He's not meant to be for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget that. But the things that he says and the things that some of the lines that sometimes people feel like he crosses with promos and things, for some people that's like, oh no, I don't like that, that's too far. But then for other people that are entitled to their opinion too, they might feel like, oh no, actually I really like that. It's edgy.
Yeah, and look,
we all have boundaries. It's just
that,
they're not always set up the same place.
Sorry, I was just going to say, that's an interesting one, because I've had this with someone, I've actually thought about that, because I was like, well, am I being, like, would I have this same reaction if someone in a film said it, right? Said those same lines? No, I probably wouldn't. But I think for me as well, with wrestling is, it's a live form entertainment that makes you believe these people are real.
Yep. And sometimes, who wrote the line that the wrestler said.
But also as well, like, not only do a lot of them want you to believe it's real while you're watching them, this isn't like you're going to someone at the end of the show going, oh, amazing acting as Macbeth. Like, you speak to David Francisco at a merch table, there isn't much difference. He knows how, like, that's what I mean. Like, some people are a bit like that. So, yeah, sorry to interrupt your point, but that's kind of the distinct thing of where I kind of get it.
And Ricky is quite old school like that as well. The one thing that he does that isn't old school, he comes out and he sees people after the shows, only in certain places, mind. Does it in Southampton every show, doesn't he? Comes out and he sees the fans.
That's the first time I've ever seen him in Southampton.
Well, this is it. He does it very subtly. He tends to be well away from everybody. I think it sounds dodgy, like in a dark corner. He'll just loiter, and he's normally wearing his cap.
Right, okay.
And he basically does it for the kids. He's amazing with kids. One of the best on the roster with kids, because he's a dad himself. And the way he has been with my girls before, he hasn't met my lad. But he does it in Southampton, which has a lot of kids in the show. He doesn't tend to do it anywhere else. There's no kids in Sheffield because it's over 12s now. He doesn't do it in London because London, I think, has the smartest, smart fans.
Yeah.
That's like the one thing that he does that could possibly break character a little bit. But otherwise, literally never. Like, look at my peek behind the curtain with Ricky Knight Jr. 5 minutes where I get to ask people, 10 quick questions, 5 minutes. I've interviewed some proper big hills on there, and they've given me very honest answers. Ricky, don't care, fuck well. It's working. He's a worker. We've gone all around the houses. This match is one I'm super excited for. Do you think Sha Samuels wins?
Here's the bit I will give in favour of this match. I genuinely don't know.
And that's magic. I love that. I don't think he does, mate. I think this is Sha's goodbye.
I don't think he does. And
I tell you what, if you're someone that likes look on the balcony during this match. Look on the balcony. I think you're going to see a lot of famous faces. I think there is going to be a lot of people there to watch this match. I would expect to see your Grados, your Noam Dars, Shah's mates. I wouldn't be surprised to see Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, Wolfgang, Rampage Brown. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see loads of those NXT UK lads coming out because they're either going to see Sha say goodbye to everybody or they're going to see him win the big one. And that, I think, as well, just goes to show that this isn't just about, this is a goodbye, potentially, for a hero's winning the day for one of the biggest legends of British wrestling history. I think we saw it with I can't think of the fella's name. Kelly Six did a really touching tribute to Sha this week on Twitter, and so did RJ Singh.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a lot of them over the next few days.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think I am with you that I do see this as a Ricky win, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we got a Sha win somehow, and then we're playing the when I lose I retire. And part of me would go, if your goal here is for it to make Ricky, then obviously you go that route. If that's not your primary goal, I would put on Sha and have him lose it within 2 months. And I'd have him lose it at a regional show. The thought that
Who would
anything
you lose it to?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
A heel Michael Oak.
Because the thing is as well though, you've then
face Michael Oak who turns heel by doing it.
Yeah, you've got
cheating to beat Sha Samuels into retirement.
You've got to give him levels of opponents that feel similar, because otherwise, someone who's eventually going to beat him, right? So you can't go, I'm going to put Chris Ridgway, I'm going to put Ethan Allen, respectfully, of course, and then go, right, Michael Oku, up you come, right? And then Michael wins. I would, look, it's one of 3 men for me, I'd actually do it, right? Unless Michael Oku is going full heel and committing to the bit, right? Which I'm gonna be honest, I don't see happening now. I just don't. Then I would. There's 3 men: Jay Joshua, Connor Mills, or one called Manders. I'd have one of those 3 do it. And
I knew the first 2 that you'd say. I didn't know the first.
Yeah, and out of the 3, the one that I think potentially I would do it with the most is Mills.
Mills has history. He retired Eddie Dennis.
There we go.
There was a really nice moment. I don't know whether this is spoiler or if this is workers working. There was when Mills wrestled Sha in Sheffield. Mills genuinely looked emotional at the end of the match, and he got out of the ring and he left the ring to Sha. But you know, like how when Sha wrestled Desire and he like gave him the mic, he was like, "Go on, kid, you do it. You do the go home speech." And like, he has that moment sometimes of just kind of in the heat of the moment at the end of the match, like letting kayfabe slip a little bit. Like when he came charging out to confront Spike Travail, he dropped his headset and was like, "Oh no, I've dropped the gimmick." And you're like, he had this moment where Mills was left to give him the ring, and he just kind of leant down and he pulled Mills back, and they let him embrace.
Yeah.
And he whispered something in Mills's ear, and it was like, "Fuck, Sha's retiring, and that was the last time Mills is ever going to wrestle him." And you know, these are 2 lads who are London School of Wrestling coaches together. Like, they're tight. Sha puts Mills over at every opportunity. This is going to mean something to him, and that's what this is. This is Sha saying goodbye, Mills saying goodbye. Or they're really fucking good workers who are doing that because they know we're all watching, and actually Sha's going to win the belt, and Mills is going to be the one that takes it off him by being the dickhead that Mills always ends up being.
Well,
just
Dave,
think you can love Connor Mills. He shows you that you shouldn't.
Right, I'm going to ask you one very quick fire question to end this on. What is a match, either for Global Wars or the anniversary night, that hasn't been announced that you think could be?
Pretty Psycho versus Cutthroat Collective.
Nice. I'm going with Bandido versus JJ Gale. There's our predictions, because we don't have the full cast to do the whole predictions with, so that's our predictions. Right, Dave, the weekend is always here, my friend. Yes, everything looks great. We have almost gone back to old levels. 2 hours, 22 minutes. I will see you at the weekend, my friend.
I will, mate. See you at the bar.
Bye.